Today, 3 items. First, there was an extraordinarily significant event that occurred this last week that I suspect got lost, so I'll try to retrieve it for you. Let me provide a context. In the 1980s and 1990s, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, the two premier international financial institutions on the planet, imposed what they called structural adjustment programs on highly indebted African countries who desperately needed loans. So the loans were provided, but conditions were applied, and the conditions were stop investing in health, stop investing in education. If you're going to have agriculture, use it for cash crops for export, don't use it for food for your own people, dismantle the civil service, privatize everything. It was Ronald Reaganomics to the nth degree, and it was tremendously damaging. Millions of children couldn't go to school because they couldn't afford the school fees effectively imposed by the World Bank. Millions of people couldn't get health care because they couldn't afford the user fees effectively imposed by the World Bank. And the damage continues to this day. Some years ago, the World Bank came to its senses and said, "We apologize, structural adjustment is dead." But no such apology from the International Monetary Fund until this last week, where they underwent a deathbed conversion and said, okay, we'll invest in overcoming inequality, we'll try the reduction of poverty, we'll reinforce the social sectors. But you can never retrieve the damage which is felt to this day in African countries. How I remember those smug, omniscient, incomparably arrogant bureaucrats sitting in their fur-lined offices in Washington, issuing edicts affecting the life and death of millions of Africans. Many of those millions live in South Africa, leading me to item number 2. 6 million South Africans are living with HIV and AIDS, and they woke up this last week to the report from the expert on the $25 million of expenditure by the President Zuma, on his extraordinary celestial country estate, ostensibly for security purposes, but really to feed his insatiable avarice. What is it with African presidents? South Africa, Zimbabwe, Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, Sudan. They're either creeping autocrats or they have been indicted for crimes against humanity. Of course, if you will allow me, they had not bad mentors. Remember Iraq, George Bush and Tony Blair? And finally, item number 3, also from South Africa. In South Africa, the greatest single killer of people living with AIDS is tuberculosis. And now we have a World Health analysis just out showing that there can be 2 million people by next year, 2015, living with multidrug-resistant tuberculosis. That is to say, tuberculosis for which drugs are simply not available. This contagion of contagious diseases is terrifying. That was last week. I'm Stephen Lewis.